The sun hung low over the quiet village road as Mr. Robert and his students made their way through the busy market. People were rushing, animals were moving, sounds blended into a familiar chaos. Yet something unusual caught their attention. A man was struggling with his cow, pulling the rope with all his strength, trying desperately to get it to move. But the cow stood firm, refusing to take even a single step. Mr. Robert slowed his pace and signaled for the students to stop. They watched as the man tugged and fought, but the cow remained stubbornly rooted to the ground. A simple scene, yet strangely captivating. "Look closely," Mr. Robert whispered. "This isn't just a man and a cow. This is a reflection of us, of the things we hold on to, and the things that refuse to stay." The students leaned in, curiosity growing. For in that moment, with a rope stretched tight between a man and an unmoving cow, a powerful truth was waiting to be revealed. Mr. Robert was not the kind of teacher who stayed locked inside a classroom. He believed life was the greatest teacher of all, and that every ordinary moment carried a hidden lesson. His students admired him for that. Walking beside him were Ryan, Jake, Daniel, and a few others, each one eager to understand the world the way he did. As they moved through the market, Mr. Robert's eyes were gentle but observant, as if he could see meaning in places others overlooked. He often reminded his students, "Wisdom does not come from books alone. It comes from watching, listening, and understanding the world around you." Today was no different. He led them through the noise and clutter, but his mind was focused on something deeper, a lesson life was about to reveal in the simplest way possible. When he stopped near the struggling man and his unmoving cow, the students knew something important was about to unfold. They trusted that if Mr. Robert paused, it meant the moment had a message, one they were meant to see. They gathered around him, waiting quietly, ready to learn. The man pulled harder now, frustration written across his face. The cow, however, remained calm, almost peaceful, its hooves planted firmly in the dust, as if it had decided that no force in the world could make it move. The rope stretched between them like a thin line of struggle, tight, tense, unyielding. Mr. Robert watched silently for a moment, then turned to his students. "Look at this scene carefully," he said, his voice steady. "This is not just a stubborn cow. This is a mirror, a reflection of how life works." The students exchanged puzzled glances. They saw only a man trying to drag an animal home. But Mr. Robert saw a story waiting to unfold. He stepped a little closer and pointed toward the taut rope. "See how the man believes he is in control? How he thinks the cow is tied to him? How he feels powerful because he holds the rope?" The students nodded slowly. To them, it seemed obvious. The man was the master, the cow the follower. But Mr. Robert's eyes softened, and a hint of a smile touched his lips. Sometimes, what looks like control is actually dependence, and what looks like strength is actually weakness. The students leaned in, sensing the lesson was only beginning. Mr. Robert folded his arms and looked at his students with a quiet challenge in his eyes. "Tell me," he said, pointing to the scene before them, "who is truly tied here? The cow or the man?" The students exchanged quick glances, certain the answer was obvious. Jake stepped forward confidently. "Sir, the cow is tied. The rope is on its neck. The man is free. He's the one in control." A few others nodded in agreement. From where they stood, the cow seemed like the one stuck, the one restricted, the one being forced. But Mr. Robert didn't react. He simply watched the cow's calm stillness and the man's growing desperation. Then he asked softly, "If the cow is tied, why isn't it moving? And if the man is free, why can't he walk away?" The students fell silent. The question made them uncomfortable, as if it was about more than just a cow and a rope.mr. Robert's voice lowered, carrying the weight of a deeper truth. "We assume the one pulling is in control. We assume the one holding the rope has the power. But sometimes the one who refuses to move controls everything." The students stared, unsure what he meant, but something inside them whispered that the real lesson was just moments away. Seeing the confusion on his students' faces, Mr. Robert stepped forward without another word. He approached the man struggling with the cow and gently asked for permission to show something. The exhausted man, relieved to take a break, nodded and handed him the rope.mr. Robert held it loosely for a moment, observing the cow's calm but stubborn posture. Then, with a single swift motion, he pulled out a small knife and cut the rope. What happened next shocked everyone. The cow didn't hesitate. It bolted away instantly, running into the open fields with full freedom, relieved to finally be untied. But the man, he panicked. He ran after the cow, shouting, stumbling, desperate not to lose it. The students watched in stunned silence as the roles suddenly flipped in front of their eyes. The animal escaped. The man chased, and the empty rope fell to the ground between them.mr. Robert turned back to his students, his voice calm but piercing. "Now tell me, who was tied to whom?" A quiet realization washed over the group. The cow had never needed the man, but the man, through fear, through attachment, through dependence, was tied to the cow. The rope hadn't held the cow. It had held the man. The students stood frozen, watching the man disappear in the distance as he chased the cow that no longer wanted to be with him. The empty rope lay on the ground like a quiet truth finally exposed. Mr. Robert let the silence settle for a moment before he spoke again. "You see," he began softly, "we spend so much of our lives running after things that pull away from us. People who don't value us, relationships that drain us, thoughts that disturb our peace. We believe we are holding on to them, but in reality, they are the ones controlling us." He knelt and picked up the cut piece of rope, letting it slip through his fingers. Anger, jealousy, pride, fear, regret. We think these things are tied to us. But it's the opposite. We are the ones tied to them. We feed them. We chase them. We hold on long after they've stopped serving us. The students listened quietly, their hearts heavy with understanding. Mr. Robert continued, "When the cow was tied, it refused to move. But the moment it was free, it left without looking back. And the man? He didn't want to lose what he believed he controlled. That's how our mind works too." He looked at each student intently. When you stop giving energy to negative thoughts, they vanish like that cow. When you stop chasing people who don't want to stay, they leave. And that's a blessing, not a loss. The truth sank deep, leaving the students thoughtful and still.mr. Robert slowly stood up, brushing the dust from his hands as the students absorbed his words. The empty rope lay beside him, a symbol of something far heavier than a stubborn cow. He looked at his students with a depth that made them shift uncomfortably, as if he were seeing straight into their hearts. "We humans," he said softly, "believe we own everything we hold. We believe we control people, relationships, habits, and emotions. But the truth is," he paused, letting his gaze move across each of their faces, "the more you depend on something, the more it controls you." He pointed toward the direction where the man had run. "Look at him. He wasn't holding the rope was holding him." His fear of losing the cow made him its servant. The students lowered their eyes, each thinking about the things they feared losing: a friend, a relationship, approval, a reputation, an old grudge, a bad habit. When you cling to people who want to leave, Mr. Robert continued, your peace is no longer your own. When you chase validation, others control your worth. When you hold on to anger or jealousy, those emotions become your master. A quiet breeze rustled through the trees, almost as if the world itself agreed. Mr. Robert's voice softened even more. We spend so much time trying not to lose things, that we lose ourselves. The students felt the weight of that truth settle deep inside them, a truth both painful and freeing. Mr. Robert walked a few steps away from the rope and looked out at the open field where the cow had disappeared. The students followed his gaze, seeing nothing but sunlight, dust, and the quiet horizon. Yet the emptiness itself felt symbolic, a reminder of what life could look like once we release what weighs us down. He turned back to them, his voice calm but powerful. Letting go feels scary because we think it means losing something. But most of the time, letting go means gaining yourself back. He lifted the cut rope from the ground and let it slip through his fingers. This, he said, is freedom. Not controlling others. Not chasing what doesn't want to stay. Not holding on to what hurts. Freedom begins the moment you choose peace over attachment. The students listened, mesmerized. People think strength is holding on, he continued. But real strength is knowing when to release, when to walk away, when to stop insisting, when to stop running after those who are running from you. A soft wind passed through, almost carrying his words deeper into their hearts. When you stop feeding anger, it fades. When you stop arguing with your fears, they lose power. When you stop chasing people, the right ones stay by themselves. His eyes softened. Letting go isn't losing. It's opening your hands so life can place something better inside. The moment was quiet, but the truth felt louder than anything they had ever learned in a classroom. Mr. Robert began walking again, and the students followed, each step quieter than the last. The lesson was no longer about the cow. It had become a reflection of their own lives. As they walked, Mr. Robert spoke gently, as if guiding them through their own memories. In life, many of you will chase after people who don't want to stay, he said softly. You will beg for attention, force relationships, cling to friendships, or hold on to someone who has already let go internally. He looked at them knowingly, because every student had felt that pain, the sting of wanting someone who didn't want them back. When someone wants to leave, he continued, your chasing doesn't bring them closer. It only takes you farther from yourself. They walked past a small pond, the water calm and undisturbed. Mr. Robert paused and pointed at its surface. See this still water? This is what your mind should feel like. But when you chase people, when you cling to the wrong ones, your peace shatters, like a stone thrown into the pond. The students watched their reflections ripple. Some people come into your life to stay, and others come to teach. But neither of those require you to run after them. He took a breath and said the truth many need but rarely hear. If someone wants to walk away, open the door for them. Losing them isn't loss. It's clarity. The students felt something release inside them. A painful memory, a name, a face, finally loosening its grip. Mr. Robert and his students reached the end of the path, where the village opened into wide fields touched by the soft glow of the setting sun. The man chasing the cow was now only a distant figure, barely visible on the horizon, a silent reminder of the lesson they had just witnessed. Mr. Robert stopped, turned to his students, and spoke with a gentleness that felt like a warm hand on the heart. Remember what you saw today. The cow didn't tie the man. His fear did. His attachment did. His unwillingness to let go did. He placed the cut rope on the ground. This, he said, is what freedom looks like. Choosing not to chase. Choosing not to cling. Choosing not to lose yourself over someone or something that doesn't belong to you anymore. His eyes softened with wisdom. Life will pull many things away from you. People will leave. Situations will end. Seasons will change. But your peace should never depend on who stays. Your worth should never depend on who chooses you. And your happiness should never depend on who walks beside you. A gentle wind moved through the grass, as if carrying his words into the world. You are free the moment you decide to stop running, he continued. Free the moment you choose yourself. Free the moment you say, if you want to go, go. That is not weakness. That is strength. The students stood quietly, but inside, each of them felt lighter, as if a rope within them had finally been cut as they continued their walk back home. Mr. Robert whispered one final truth. The rope you let go of today will free your future tomorrow. If this story touched you, like the video, comment below, I choose peace, and subscribe for more wisdom-filled tales that help you live with clarity, strength, and freedom.